Hi, this video going to be about quantitative genetics, and here's a problem. Assume that the height in people depends on 4 pairs of alleles. How can two persons of moderate height produce children who are much taller than they are? Assume that the environment is exerting negligible effect. So here's explanation, but before I will explain you how to solve this problem, I want to remind you the difference between qualitative genetics and qualitative traits, and quantitative genetics and quantitative traits. And here is the simplest example. For example, when we have simple Mendelian genetics and one trait, and when we have one parent that is going to be, for example, heterozygous, would be capital A small a genotype, and another parent also may have such genotype. Such a cross would give us 2 phenotypes and 3 genotypes. So here we would have capital A genotype, here we would have capital A small a genotype, and here capital A small a genotype and small a here. And 3 out of 4 genotypes would make one phenotype. So 3 out of 4 would look alike, because this is simple Mendelian genetics, and homozygous dominant genotype would look the same as heterozygous genotype. And 1 out of 4 we would expect different phenotype to be different phenotype. For example, if capital A allele stand for the red color in plants, and recessive small a would stand for the white color in plants, so these 3 genotypes would produce plants with red flowers, and this genotype would produce plants with white flowers. And when we have quantitative traits, the picture would look differently. Imagine the same situation when we have 2 parents, and for the same locus they would have 2 alleles. One would be dominant, another would be recessive, and this time our picture would look differently, because this would be additive traits. For example, if we would talk about plants and dominant allele A would add say 10 centimeters to the plant height, and recessive allele A would add 5 centimeters, we would have result of the cross as follows. So here we would have genotype that is going to be capital A, and 10 centimeters plus 10 centimeters. Here we would have genotype that is capital A, small a, and 10 centimeters plus 5 centimeters. Here also heterozygous genotype, and 10 centimeters plus 5 centimeters. And here we would have small a genotype, and 5 centimeters plus 5 centimeters. And as you see, here we would have plant that is going to be 20 centimeters. Another group would make plant that is going to be 15 centimeters. And the last group would make plant that's going to be 10 centimeters tall. As you see, this time we have 1 to 2 to 1 proportions here, and one plant would be 20 centimeters, another one 15, and the last one would be 10 centimeters. And on this example of one gene with two alleles, we see that parents here would belong to this group that is 15 centimeters, and when we cross them, they can produce progeny that would be, as you see, taller than the both parents, or would be 20 centimeters, and also they would have progeny that would be the same tallness, and also they would have 1/4 that would be much smaller, or 10 centimeters. And imagine that when we have two genes, for example, that is present also in two alleles. For example, this can be capital A, small a, capital B, small b, that we cross with another parent that is of the same genotype. We can get different gametes as follows. So this would be the first type, capital A and capital B, and second type would be capital A and small b, and third type would be small a, capital B, and this is going to be the fourth type, that is going to be small a and small b. And if once again dominant allele would stand for the 10 centimeters, and recessive allele would give 5 centimeters to the tallness, and capital B 10 centimeters, and small b allele would give 5 centimeters to the tallness of the plant, we can build a square that is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 by 4. So this would give us 16 cells. So here we had one gene with two alleles, and two alleles for each parent produces 4 cells. So when we have 4 different gametes, when we build a Punnett square, we are going to get 16 cells. And extreme genotypes, and this is going to be extreme genotype here in this example, and this is going to be another extreme genotype. So this is going to be the tallest, and this is going to be the smallest. In second example, here we would have the tallest, that would be 1 out of 16, and the smallest also would be 1 out of 16. And the rest would be different intermediate genotypes, and this is going to be 1 to 4 to 6 to 4 to 1 ratio of the different phenotypes here. And of course, with 4 genes or 8 different alleles possible, this is going to be square with 64 cells. And as you see, and on this much simplified example, 2 parents, that is going to be 15 centimeters. We are not talking about people right now, we are talking about plants, for example, may produce phenotypes that is going to be taller than them or smaller than them. And of course, the more allelic pairs we would have, the more different combinations that we may have. And this explains why two moderate height people may produce children that can be very different in their height. So some children can be small, some can be tall, and some can be average. And I hope you now would be able to solve problems analogous to this on your exam. And this is all for today. Thank you for attention. Please subscribe for my new videos that I post almost every day. Thumbs up if you like this video. Please write your comments, ask questions if you have any, and see you in the next video. Goodbye.